Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And today I'm going to talk about something a little different with this. I'm not going to be roasting anybody, but I do want to talk about an event that happened this week. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on scaling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Because this is stuff that does relate to the nonsense you see in this fitness world. But first I want to talk about the sports aspect of it. Former UFC fighter was in a boxing match up in Canada, and actually he was apparently a decent UFC fighter. I mean, not like top tier, but he was pretty decent. Guy was a good athlete, good at his sport, and I guess he switched over to boxing, even though he had a background mostly in MMA, and he was in a boxing match, and he got knocked out, and then he died at the hospital later. All right, he died from the brain injury. He got up under his own, consciousness and everything. He was able to get back up and everything, but even his opponent knew he was hurt, and after he did his little dance, he looked down and realized the guy was really hurt, kneeled down, waited, helped him get up. I mean, showing some true sportsmanship there, man. Some true sportsmanship by helping, knowing he's hurt the guy, and he's down there trying to help him get up after he won, That says a lot about that boxer's character. It says a lot about his character. A lot. That he realized, I really hurt this guy. I'm in here boxing. This is a sport, but I didn't mean to hurt him that bad. And he knew he hurt him. So, he's helping him up. And the guy died. And that's, it's tragic to hear. And I mean, any unfortunate death is tragic. But I mean, most of us are fitness people here. Almost everyone listening. We care about health. We care about fitness. We care about being athletic. This is a young man, 34 years old. Well-conditioned athlete, extremely fit, extremely skilled at his sport. Actually, I guess a couple different sports, technically similar sports, but different sports. Dies competing. And the worst part is that the guy who hit him is going to have to live with that too. The guy didn't mean to kill him, but it happened. And that's the thing. It sucks because we see stuff like that. In contact sports like this, where these guys are coming in trying to be the best that they can be, and they end up either getting permanently hurt or killed. And I mean, he was a father and everything. I mean, he was a young father. So, as a child's going to grow up without a dad because of that. And it's a tragic thing. And, that's the thing that we all have to consider when we think about the different competitive endeavors that we choose to get involved in. And that's what I always tell guys. Weigh out the risk of anything you choose to compete in and make sure that it's worth it to you. I don't care whether it's powerlifting, which I've done my share of powerlifting competition, whether it's a UFC, boxing, football, bodybuilding, whatever it is that you want to compete in. Step back and ask yourself, do I really want to do this? How much does this mean to me? What are the risks involved, and can I accept those risks? And if you can accept those risks, then by all means, and I'm sure this guy did. I'm sure this guy knew you could get really hurt. He knows guys get punch drunk. He knows guys get their necks broke. That stuff happens in these contact sports. It happens. And, everyone needs to assess their risks, though, of what are the risks involved, and can I live with those risks? Is this sport going to be important enough to me to live with the risk? It's like I tell you guys, there are tremendous risks to every one of these. Powerlifting, I've seen shares of injuries. You got to accept what are the risks, what can go wrong. Same thing, you guys go do bodybuilding. What are the risks involved? The risks are pretty high in bodybuilding, actually. Very high, if you do a bit of research. And that's even for people who don't, saying, well, I just want to emulate what they do. Well, you're still going to suffer the consequences. There's still consequences to that. Trying to obtain the physiques that they have at contest time, there's consequences to that. All these competitive endeavors have consequences. They're not always healthy. Although we want to think of a lot of these guys as fit and healthy, particularly someone like MMA guys, boxers. I mean, those are sports with a large conditioning component, a huge explosiveness component. There's multiple athletic endeavors there. I mean, I would say some of those guys are some of the more well-rounded athletes out there in sports like that. They're well-rounded. But, there are consequences to these things. There are risks, and that's what every person needs to assess. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, don't take any risk. I'm not going to tell you guys, oh, be a big pussy and be scared of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is step back and objectively and honestly assess the risk. And can you live with the risks of your competitive endeavor? How much does it mean to you? And if it means enough to you that you're willing to undertake those risks, then do it. Go for it. It's your life. But you need to have an honest assessment about what the risks are in anything you choose to compete in. And a lot of people don't think that way. They don't think there are risks. So there's always risk. And sometimes those risks are pretty high. We've seen a lot of injuries in the X-Fit Games this year. A lot of injuries. People need to assess those risks. You know, and I know a lot of us who are involved in fitness, for whatever reasons, we choose to get into competitive endeavors because we enjoy our fitness. We want to take certain things to the next level, our performance. We want to compete in something. There's nothing wrong with that. Competition can bring out the best in people. It can bring out the best in people, but it can also bring out some bad qualities. You know, it can bring out some negative traits as well, but it can bring out the best in you. And there's nothing wrong with striving to be the best that you can be. To be the best person you can be, in whatever levels that happens to be. There's nothing wrong with it. That's a good thing. But weigh it all out. Weigh it all out. Make sure that you're making the choice that's right for you. You know, can you live with the consequences? And like I said, I'm sure this guy didn't think he had these consequences, but, you know, he died doing something he loves. And his family said that he died surrounded by loved ones, listening to the music he loved in the room and everything when he died. And, you know, he went down doing something he had done for many years, was very passionate about, and that was fighting in a ring. So, you know, I guess for all of us, maybe that's the best we can hope for in this life, you know, is to, in your life, doing something that you love. Surrounded by people who love you and care about you. Maybe that's the best death there is. Others would argue there's other types. You know, who are we to say? That's such an individual thing. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, something like that, you know, my heart goes out to the guy's child. My heart goes out to the guy who accidentally killed him in the ring because he said he was a friend. He thought of him as a friend, and yeah, he's pretty upset about it. You know, but these things happen. And back to another point. That's something that people need to remember. It's something I try to bring up to you guys. Everyone, a lot of guys, they get into lifting, younger guys, even some of these other YouTubers and these idiots and everything, they always talk about they want to beat somebody up. They want to fight people. Do you understand that when you are strong and you lift weights, particularly if you use gear, you need to understand that your fists, your body, look at what happens to people. These are sometimes extremely powerful, tough athletes out here on a playing field, whether it's football, boxing, MMA. Some of these guys have tremendous bone density, yet they still get hurt. They still get brain damage. They still die. They still get broken backs, broken necks. It happens. When someone who's powerful hits you with their body, with everything that they have, it's a deadly weapon, and that's what you guys need to understand. You know, it's kind of like a lot of people be like, well, Jason, you have all these guns and you do the gun stuff. What's the difference? And that's kind of the point that a lot of younger guys in this game, or some of the muscle heads in this whole industry, don't grasp. Putting your hands, when you're a strong, powerful, athletic person, hitting someone with your body as hard as you can is not a game. There's not a lot of difference between that and the amount of energy that is produced there, the amount of damage you can do. There's not a lot of difference between that and me taking one of my handguns and shooting somebody. All right, there's a very fine difference between the two. Both of them are potentially lethal. Both of them have, in some cases, the human body produces more force. And yeah, people die all the time from being hit or kicked or punched. It happens every day around the world. People die from it. Sometimes a single hit. You know, that's stuff you guys got to think about. That's not a game. It's one thing when you're in a controlled environment, in a ring, and everyone's a sportsman and has agreed to it. There's referees and rules. But even then, you know, everyone's always, I'm going to whoop this dude's ass. I'm going to beat this guy. I want to fight you. You guys need to understand what that really entails when you work out and you're strong and you're powerful. You know, you deadlift over 500 pounds. You bench over 300 pounds for reps. You're talking about hitting somebody else. You need to understand at that point, you are talking about using a deadly weapon. It's not a game. All right? Fighting and resolving your issues with fighting is for little children. All right? It's not for grown men. Grown men, especially ones who are strong, they're powerful, whether it's from manual labor or sports or lifting weights. Start putting your hands on other people. Yeah, it has the potential to kill them. That's not much different than just saying, I'm going to kill somebody. It's not a lot of difference. And, you know, with strength, with power comes responsibility. And, you know, I see a lot of people in this industry who really, and in this community, who really need to grow up about that stuff. And they're always like, I'm going to whoop this guy's ass. I'm going to fight this person. He's getting ready. You know, no, when you lift weights and all you guys using gear and everything else, you lift weights, you're strong. No, you start talking about whooping somebody's ass, you're talking about potentially killing somebody. All right, and if you don't understand that, you don't understand the reality of that, the consequences of that, maybe you don't need to be walking around on the street. But yeah, it's serious. That is serious stuff. When you're a grown man and you are strong and powerful and you do have enough strength and power to kill somebody if you haul off and hit them as hard as you possibly can and throw your body weight into it, that's not a game anymore. That's not little kid stuff. And I think there's a lot of people in this community who talk that way, and I think they need to grow up about it. They really do. They need to grow up. They're going to whoop somebody's ass. Grown men, most mature men, when they fight, it's not just about pride like that. It is usually really serious, right? And there's not much difference there between threatening someone with deadly force versus someone who works out and lifts weights, that they're going to whoop somebody's ass. It's the same thing. You are threatening using deadly force against someone. And, people say all that like it's not a big deal all the time. It seems like on the internet, like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. This story shows you that's a big deal. And that's not an isolated story. It happens all the time. This case, it happened to be in a ring. But you know what? People die every day from being punched or kicked or hit. All right, it happens. Especially if you're strong. Especially if you're strong, if you're athletic. You need to learn to have some restraint. You need to understand that your body is a potentially deadly weapon, and you don't need to just be hauling off hitting people in anger because you don't like them. All right? It's inappropriate. It's immature. And quite frankly, people who have that mentality, guys, you're out here lifting weights and getting strong, and you still run around and think that you're going to run around hitting people, you're an animal who probably needs to be locked up in a cage, or maybe somebody needs to just get rid of you. Or you go harming people, for no real reason. And yeah, I just don't like that sort of stuff. And I see it online all the time. Even other YouTubers talk about, I'm going to whip this guy's ass. I want to fight this guy. That's kid bullshit. But you're not kids anymore. You're not kids anymore. You're grown-ass men who lift weights. A lot of you use steroids. You're a lot stronger than you understand, and it's not a minor thing anymore to haul off and hit somebody or put your hands on another person in anger. It's actually a serious matter. Alright guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.